What up, y'all? It is Jamba here with another reaction video. I'm gonna do some different stuff besides reactions, but I did come across this. We Waffles guy. I reacted to his last video. I guess he's making more content now. I like some of this guy's content. I used to react to it about a year ago. This guy, he talks about dating, he talks about looks, he talks about all types of stuff in the relationship kind of dynamic, especially when it comes to approaching women, what it is that matters to women, things of that nature. So let's go ahead and dig in. This video is called "Why Is Getting a Girlfriend So Hard as an Average Guy?" Ooh, okay, let's dig in.
Okay. All good?
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, awesome.
Hey, we
You're a guy who is roughly like me in terms of looks level and is of a similar age. You probably find getting a girlfriend an extremely hard, if not impossible task.
mm,
And yet, you may know a girl or two in your social circle who you are on a similar looks level to, and it seems she can go from relationship to relationship
with,
with no problem finding a new boyfriend.
with these, yeah.
I can name 3 girls who I have on Instagram who fit exactly this. They post stories with their current boyfriend, doing fun activities together,
Mhm,
and then 3 months later, they are with a new guy doing similar things.
mhm.
They are able to move on from the next guy to the next guy just like that.
Like hopscotch.
So, why is it like this? Why is it extremely hard to get a date, let alone a girlfriend, as a young average guy, but so easy for the female equivalent? Well, to tell you the truth about why this is the case,
If you're in a I'm gonna keep playing it, but if you're in the dark about that in 2024, then you're very much behind the 8 ball. So this is kind of seemingly some basic one-on-one type stuff. So I don't know. Maybe Wee Waffles is going for like a more fresher audience a more fresh audience who doesn't know this type of stuff. But
it's because most young women just don't have much desire to be in a relationship with guys,
yeah,
whereas way more guys do want that.
hmm,
The supply and demand is completely out of balance.
yeah,
And it's not even that girls are chasing short term instead. Many girls just aren't that interested in guys, period.
right,
Many girls who are single are simply choosing to stay single.
yeah,
And it's not because they don't have options, and it's not even because they don't have quality options. They just want to stay single and have little to no desire of being in a relationship, whether short.
yeah. Because they have. It's like why do they need to rush to it if they're 24 years old, attractive, men want them, they can date these types of guys, they could date these types of guys, they can date the money guys, they could date the finance guys, they could date the athlete guys when they come into town, they could date all sorts of guys, right? So a woman being in a relationship, especially in his age bracket, is going to severely limit her opportunities and her reach and how much, I don't want to say how much fun she can have, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So um, it makes sense to me.
Term or long term with a guy. I'll start off with one quick example showing this is true.
Hmm.
In society today, what is the lowest barrier to entry thing a person can do to make a step in the direction of obtaining a relationship? Quite obviously, it is downloading a dating app.
Yeah,
It literally takes 2 seconds, and you can do it from the comfort of your bedroom.
yeah. And there's way
Now,
more men than women.
if there are an equal number of young men and women pursuing relationships at a young age, surely you'd anticipate there to be an equal, or at least ish, number of men and women on these platforms.
Fuck no. More
But in
men.
reality,
Way more men.
these apps often have a massive gender imbalance of men outnumbering the girls by 2 or even 3 to 1.
My pledge.
What I was gonna say before you pause the video is on certain sites, dating sites that involves cash and money, it's the opposite. On the sites where it's just regular, it's about 3 to 1 men to women, 3 to 1, 3 men for every 1 woman or something like that. But for them cash money sites, it's about 4 women to 1 man. So what does this tell you? That tells you a lot. And I'm not sure if he's gonna talk about that. I think he should. Because that's the real shit. That's the reality, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of y'all do.
This isn't even considering how the likelihood of a girl finding a relationship from one of these apps is way higher than a guy being able to.
Yeah.
Every girl knows that if they downloaded Tinder, Bumble, or
You
Hinge,
can
they
find
can
a
start dating
relationship.
a guy within a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's nice.
Whereas for guys, they can be on there for years and
Mhm.
still not meet anyone. Put simply,
Night and day.
most guys out there that want to meet girls are just sitting on the sidelines.
Mhm.
This is what I mean in previous videos when I say that every girl who wants a relationship
You can get
is
one.
already in a relationship.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
The ones that aren't, they are avoiding dating apps and rejecting the men that approach them in real life.
Right.
In other words, they are choosing to stay single. Now, I don't believe it has always been like this. In fact, I think it's mostly a recent thing to have happened. And as I'm going to explain, there are several reasons for this. I can show from first hand experience how I know this to be true.
Mhm.
Most importantly, nowadays there is little value as a man you can bring to the table or add to a woman's life besides your looks. Everything else is either something she can get through other means,
Yeah.
or your contribution is entirely redundant today.
Yeah. Wow.
The only
That's big. You hear he said your contribution is entirely redundant. So if you think about it, so if you're like a regular dude now, if you're like a cash money guy, if you're an entrepreneur who got a home in Miami and a Maybach, and you got, we're not talking about y'all. We're not talking about y'all money niggas. We're talking about like a more so of a regular guy. Whatever that you could provide to a woman, right? Even if it's something simple like, hey, my companionship, my, we're going out and me being funny, whatever it is, she can get that from a myriad of dudes. And a myriad of dudes, some of which are better. So why settle for, yeah. So he's absolutely correct, right? He hasn't said a wrong thing yet.
thing that is mutually exclusive you can provide to a woman is your looks. I'll say
Yeah,
that again. The only thing that is mutually exclusive you can provide to a
tough
woman
cookie to
is your
swallow.
looks.
It's a tough
What this
cookie.
means is the sole value you can provide to her, which she absolutely cannot get from anywhere else,
Yeah,
is your looks.
meaning that, yeah. So, man, tough,
What are some examples of this?
tough.
Well, think about the financial side of relationships. 60 years ago, a woman who was 18 essentially had no choice but to get married to a man and move in with him immediately. Because if she didn't, she'd either get kicked out the family home and forced to pay extortionate rent on a single income,
Hmm.
or live homeless. And this isn't even mentioning that women's incomes were vastly lower in those days compared to men's than
Hmm.
what they are now.
Now they make a little bit more
But
money than men do.
nowadays, women can live in the family home until 30 and are in no rush to meet someone for the sake of finances.
That's true.
So basically, your money has been replaced by mummy and daddy's money. How about companionship? Well, women can get that from their friends, and they don't need you to provide that. It doesn't mean it's not a contribution you can add value to her life, but it isn't mutually exclusive.
No.
Additionally, society is so connected nowadays that women have phones and social media to constantly have their companionship needs met through these platforms.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are always in touch with people no matter what time of day it is or where they are in the world.
And not only are they in touch, it's like a woman doesn't even have to necessarily be posting anything. Like as a dude, you in order if especially if you're like a regular guy, if you have even if you have Instagram or Facebook or whatever, it's like for the most part you're not really being reached out to like that. You have to be like putting out content, you have to be putting out that you're doing stuff, you've got to be putting out that you're traveling or that you're doing this or that you're doing that or you bought a new car or something like that. In order to get kind of engagement, you have to like put yourself out there and add value and add a perceived value to your profile. Whereas a woman can not even be on social media like that, and just off of the fact that she's a woman, will get guys, commenting on her photos from friggin' a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago, right? It's significantly different. So yeah, so this is I'm just taking what he's saying and then kind of like expanding it, right?
World. So, what I'm trying to underpin is 50 years ago, if a woman dated a man, she would get his looks, she would get his companionship,
Mm-hmm.
his money,
Mm-hmm.
his house.
Mm-hmm.
But today, all she gets is his looks and companionship. And since she can get companionship elsewhere, the only thing that she gets that's mutually exclusive
It's
from
looks.
being in a relationship with you is your looks.
unless you have something else that is specific to you, like I don't know, like if you fix cars really well and but I mean again, she can still get that from somewhere else if she has the money for it. So she may not want to settle for your average looking ass just because you fix cars really well when she can get, I don't want to say a Mexican person, but I was gonna say Juan to do it, at the auto shop, whatever.
Now, let's take a look at what men get. The
Uh-oh.
things you receive from a relationship compared with 50 years ago. Well, today what you receive is the same as what you got 50 years ago. Men never got money from women, so back in those days, he would get a woman's looks and companionship. Nowadays, he also gets her looks and companionship.
Hmm.
So the number of men looking for a relationship hasn't really changed because the reasons to want one are the same.
Hmm.
But for women, there are now less reasons of a man being beneficial to their lives, so consequently, less of them desire one.
Yeah.
Now, a counterpoint to this is many will say a lot of guys are only looking for short term fun.
Ah,
But I'd argue this point
that's bunk. That's bunk, man. I hate when people say that shit. It's just not true. It isn't true. And I'm not saying that I don't know a man who only wanted that. Obviously, I did because I used to play basketball. But yeah, it's just annoying. Let's see what he says about it.
is irrelevant.
Not a true thing, though.
Because irrespective of what you are looking for, the dating market is so rigged, you're probably not getting any women interested in you, whether it be for short term or long term. Which shows that barely any women that are single are interested in the guys available to them. It's hardly true that there are plenty of women begging the men to stop being dirty dogs.
If you're right, the reason why the whole short term thing doesn't make any sense, right? Because let's use this logic here. Let's say we're going with the fact that an average guy doesn't have it, like can't date, right? I can, to be honest with you, I can barely date, barely, right? Just fucking barely. But if you're an average guy, you can't really even date like that. Why would you only want short term when when you want something to last? Because every man is going to want sex and companionship to a certain degree, right? So it makes, so the guys who actually just want the short term are the guys who have the abundance, and because they can have it, it makes more sense for you to have a short term, right? So it's like a job. It's like, well, I was going to try to compare it to jobs, but I don't think I have that analogy offhand. How much time we got? Okay. Once we get to the next ad, because I still got ads, y'all. We're gonna skip it, go into part two, or in part one and then go into part two.
And settle down for a relationship with her,
Let's rewind.
in the guys available to them.
Hmm.
It's hardly true that there are plenty of women begging the men to stop being dirty dogs and settle down
No,
for a relationship with her.
not really happening.
In reality, the men are just getting rejected in every way.
Yeah. Up. And we're back. A couple more minutes, and then I'm going to, because I want to split this, y'all. I got to split this just for the sake of the program that I'm using. Okay.
Additionally, putting aside what men are looking for,
Yep.
the more men chasing women for whatever reasons,
Makes it
it
lower
still
value.
saturates the market.
Yep.
There are more men looking for the combined short term, long term, and whatever term compared to what women are looking for by far.
Yeah.
And in many ways, it makes it even harder the more men there are looking for short term. Because if a Chad is spinning plates, then he is potentially keeping 2, 3, 4, or even more women pursuing romance out of the dating pool.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. I'm gonna land with this. Yeah, when he's talking about the Chads, y'all should know who he's talking about. He's talking about the very very attractive, specifically in this case, white guys. But if you the black version is a quote unquote Tyrone. These are like internet terms, obviously, y'all, because y'all are on the internet with me, right? But yeah, no, a guy who's a Chad, it's crazy because a Chad can literally take out 5 women off the market because he can say, okay, I got my girl on for Monday, I got my girl for Tuesday, I got my girl for Wednesday, I got my girl for Thursday, and then Fridays I will keep that open so that I can date a new woman so I can add to the roster. And those Monday through Thursday women will only deal with that guy for that week, right? So they can and ladies, if I'm wrong, please let me know. But they might go out on dates. Like, so let's say you're the Tuesday girl. You fuck chat. You're a woman and you fuck chat on Tuesday, right? So now Wednesday, maybe Thursday or Friday or so, and maybe she's dealing with another guy who's a quote unquote Chad. So maybe she has two Chads that she's dealing with, right? But she's not like a quote unquote main girl, right? And maybe that Chad is a baseball player or fucking is a hockey player or some shit or a finance guy, whatever the fuck, right? Entrepreneur. So if you're an average guy and you come across that Tuesday girl and you go out with her, you can't compete with the guy who she's fucking on Tuesday. Like, you just can't compete with that. You're only 5'9". This motherfucker's 6'4". So he's super good looking. He got the aesthetic, and you just kind of don't. Maybe you have a great job. Maybe you have something going for you. Maybe you're funnier. Maybe you're more sweeter. Maybe you're more thoughtful. Maybe you're more interesting. You but that's not going to matter to her because the things that she's really responding to, you just don't have. So she's giving you a shot, but you're still on real thin ice, right? So even when an average man does get to date, they're they're dating women who are dealing with those guys like on average, right? So um, she's absolutely right. I'm gonna end this and then come back with part two, y'all. So like and subscribe.